It's the 2nd of December 2020 and I'm freezing. I'm in Belfast and I came to this tiny dark place that nobody will have noticed. It's called Coles Alley and it runs between Church Lane and Ann Street. And I want to tell you a story about what happened here on this date in 2002. It's a story that I only found out about relatively recently, but it is one that has really affected me, and it's about somebody that I've never met, but I think it's one that deserves to be shared. Warren McCauley, or Aaron as he was known to his friends in the gay community, was violently assaulted here. He had come to Belfast with the intention of doing a little bit of shopping, of having a wander around, and maybe meeting a man, because that was how he met men. He might have intended to go for a drink. We're not really sure. There are so many vague things about that night and so many things that we don't yet know. All we know is that men were seen in this area, 4 men possibly. A woman at 9 o'clock walked past here, glanced down the alleyway and heard groaning. She saw somebody lying on the ground and she thought that it was a drunk. She walked on by. Another woman glanced down the alleyway and she too thought the same. He lay here all night. He was a really lovely man by all accounts. He was a nurse in Muckamore and he was really loved by his family, I assume, and by his friends. I get the impression from what I have read that he was really popular. But nobody has ever been brought to justice for his murder. Nobody has ever been charged. There have been real difficulties around investigating it because of the secrecy that existed in the gay community at that time. I only know a few details that I found online, but his death was a horrible one. We don't know who caused it, we don't know what caused it, but we know that his injuries were severe. He had head injuries from being struck with a blunt instrument. He had head injuries from hitting the ground, and there were indications, according to the state pathologist, that somebody had knelt on his chest in an attempt to squeeze the breath from his life, from his body. It's a harrowing tale, and I can't imagine what it's like to be one of his family or close friends. I just think that it really needs to... It's a story that needs to be shared, and his life had meaning, and his life is being remembered by people who don't even know him. One thing that I think is really lovely, and I only learned recently, is that him being a nurse and a very nice person, he had a donor card. So I like to think that there are people walking around now who were helped by him. But I'm thinking of his family and his friends who miss them, who miss somebody that they really loved in his life.